Hello, everyone. How are you guys doing? How are you guys feeling? Energized? You guys are going to dance, so get ready. Being able to do something with movement that you enjoy, with music that you enjoy, with people you enjoy. Best remedy ever. These words came from Mel B, the very first time she partnered with Zumba. And they have stayed with me ever since, because they capture something incredibly simple, yet scientifically powerful. We live in a world that is louder, faster, and more connected than ever before. Yet, so many people are struggling with stress, depression, anxiety, loneliness, and burnout. We spend a lot of time talking about solutions, but sometimes the most effective ones are also the most human and the most accessible ones. Move your body, connect with other people, feel part of something bigger than yourself. And here's what's fascinating. When you do those things, your brain rewards you for it. Every time you dance, every time you laugh with a room full of people who quickly become friends, your brain is releasing 4 powerful chemicals. Dopamine. Dopamine is the molecule of anticipation. In a Zumba class, you're anticipating the next move, anticipating the next song. Serotonin. Serotonin gets released when you're moving in sync to music. Oxytocin, the bonding chemical. When you're dancing with other people, you get a surge of oxytocin. And endorphins, nature's painkillers. The reason you walk out of a class feeling lighter than when you walked in, even on the hardest days. At Zumba, we've been triggering these 4 chemicals for more than 2 decades. Not because we set out to design a neuroscience experiment, but because joy, music, dancing, and community are the most natural delivery system for these chemicals that the human body already has. The 15 million people who take Zumba every single week have proven what science now confirms. What often starts as a fitness class becomes so much more. A community, a place where people find confidence, friendship, resilience, and joy, not by accidents, but because the biology of it was on our side. That's why this conversation matters. Today, we're bringing together voices who understand the intersection of wellness, mental health, culture, and community. These women have used their platforms and their lived experiences to help others stay strong, stay connected, and yes, stay loud. So excited to have our friend Mel B here. Can't wait to hear more. Louise, take it away.
Oh, these seats are comfy, aren't they? I thought they were going to be really, not comfy.
Hi, everyone.
Lovely.
Oh, I think my phone's ringing. Was that
Yeah, it is.
I'm ringing. Hey, everybody. So this is about mental health, wellness, and access. And we're actually going to start doing something. We're not sort of pyromaniacs, but we're going to.
No, I think I am a
Melanie's
pyromaniac.
a pyromaniac. But this, Melanie, is something that you do in your house
All
every
the time.
single day. And
Love it.
because this place is so big, only the people at the front are probably going to hear it.
Oh,
Tell
it'll all sage everybody. Get rid of all the
Oh, there we go. Cleaning
unwanted
the energy.
juju.
Carolina, can I borrow your super?
Sure.
No, I do
Mine is
this all
quite
the
strong,
time. You know why? Because I'm a big believer in, I love like smells and incense, but when I found this, which is about 20 years ago, the sage wood sticks, not only do they last forever, but it's kind of like an old traditional ritual, so it gets rid of any unwanted vibes, spirits, energies, and I just think, even if it doesn't work, I believe it does work, because my house is just very light. And that's because I sage it all the time.
And it's a lovely smell.
I think so. Well, it's a love-hate smell. I think you either really love it or you really don't like it at all.
Well, you're all
So
gonna
we
find
hope you
out.
guys love it.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about movement first of all, because Melanie and Carolina have just come from a Zumba exercise class. And Melanie, movement has been a constant in your life, and it's been a constant through really happy times, but also through really sad times. When you were 7 and you had serious ADHD and were driving your mum bananas, your mum took you to dance classes.
Yeah.
Your dad taught you to win at sports day to beat the bullies, because mixed race in 1970s Leeds was not the best person to be. And then when you were 16, you got your independence from home by being a dancer in Blackpool with feathers sticking out of your bum. And then, obviously Spice Girls happened. But then, during your marriage, your very emotionally abusive marriage, you used to train hard and dance and move around as a form of escape.
Yeah.
So what does movement, do you feel it's been a total constant in your life?
Yeah, I mean, for me, because I couldn't really sit still as a kid, you know, that my mum managed to turn that into something that was actually doable and practicable, if that's a word. So I fell in love with dance because it gave me a reason to be able to not sit still. You know, and then I ended up going to Northern School of Contemporary Dance, which is a whole different type of dance. But it really just I was so attracted to it because I was able to move my body in all these different positions and be able to really feel the intensity of it. And the more you practice, the better you get at it. And I think dance, you know, it's really evolved now, and everybody knows to have a good, healthy mental state of mind, you need to be able to move. You need to be able to get out in nature. You know, you need to be able to do all those things, breathe in the right oxygen, even as a singer, to learn how to breathe from your diaphragm, so you're using every part of your inner core. And that's why I love Zumba so much too, because it's not so strict. You know, when I was training as a dancer when I was 9, 10 years old, back in the day when you were allowed to kind of have a cane and get your ankles whacked if you did a ballet step wrong, you know, it was very conformed. Whereas Zumba, to me, as long as you know the basic side steps, you can just do your own thing all over it.
Which
and
we
it's
saw
very,
earlier.
very freeing. You know, I think it's so important to move, you know, because what do? We sit down for work, we sit down and eat, we sit down and watch TV. You know, you need to be able to, as Rory, my husband, I say that he does interpretive dance, which is his own vibe of dancing. But any kind of movement, it makes you feel so much better. And I don't think we put enough emphasis on that.
And Carolina, Melanie's talking about her lived experience and how it's been a constant and how it's helped her in good times, bad times. What does the science say? You've been in this industry for 15 years, you know it inside out, and you know all the science. So tell us about the science of movement.
Yeah, I think, post-COVID, the world really woke up to the importance of exercise. I think there's no doubt that you need to exercise to lose weight, to build muscle, that narrative is now part of mainstream media conversations. What we are seeing and what we're observing in the last couple of years is the importance of exercise on mental health, right? The British Journal of Sports Medicine just early this January published an article talking specifically about how exercise can now be compared to therapy, right? It is one of the first steps that a doctor will prescribe to someone who is coming in with depression. Before, is that first entry step before you even start any sort of medicine, or as you're taking any sort of medication, exercise is the one habit they will tell you to introduce in your routine. The importance of movement is it's very visible today. But I think what science is finally waking up to is it's not only important that you exercise, it's important how you exercise. And this idea of exercising in group and exercising in community and exercising with other people in a world that's making us more and more isolated through technology, through distances, through working from home, this idea that you come together with other people to share energy and by default have a better time will make you stick to the workout longer. I think this is where Zumba differentiated itself 25 years ago and continues to differentiate itself today. Dance is a very communal activity. It's an activity of exchange, of energy, of joy, and I think that's why people enjoy and stick to it.
And I think you will exercise on your own at home, won't you? But I think you could see that you really loved being in that Zumba class with a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really know the routine to start off with, but my ADHD kicked in and I learnt the routine real quick. But I just like this, just the freedom it gives you. You know what I mean? And I think when you play a certain song and you get that like high in your brain because it gives you that memories, there's nothing better than just letting loose, singing and screaming and just dancing. In fact, on our second wedding in Morocco, you know, you're meant to have a first dance that's choreographed, like everybody does at their wedding. Well, we didn't do that. We had a song that me and my husband always listened to called "I Will Die for You" by Prince, and we just literally, I think people thought we were a bit nuts. We got on the dance floor and we just jumped and just did this improvisation dance where everyone was like, "Is this real? Are they okay?" But just that expression, I think it's just it's so important to do that. That's a really long answer to a short question.
But I don't think people realise how seriously you take mental and physical health. And Carolina has just talked about the effects on the mental health. And you, at the moment you're going through your Reiki master steps, you're doing stage 1 again, even though you've already, at age 19, you completed them. But you also, 2 years ago, completed a course at Leeds Beckett University, going back with the students, in trauma-informed care. And what have those things taught you about how trauma lives in your body?
Well, I think for a start, I think, you know, it's 99% of women it's going to happen to that you suffer from some kind of abuse or trauma, whether that be physical, emotional, you know, and it is, unfortunately, predominantly quite a woman's problem because still 3 women a week get killed by their current partner or former partner. So even if you've left that relationship or you've witnessed it growing up, trauma will still sit in your body. And so apart from me not finishing school, I did want to prove a point at the age of 50 to get accepted back into university for the first time. And I really wanted to understand exactly what trauma looks like in the brain, exactly how to spot trauma and what we can do for trauma. Because once you've admitted it, once you understand it, it's an ongoing journey. You can't just get over trauma. You know, you can't unsee or undo what you've lived or seen or felt. So it was really important for me as my cause for working with survivors, being a survivor myself, to understand the nuts and bolts and the meat and potatoes of it all, which really helps me to be able to articulate what I've been through because, you know, my story is just like every other survivor's story because I think abuse doesn't have a race, an age, stature. Abuse can happen to anybody. Yeah. And through that, I found all the stuff that I've been doing since I got out of that relationship has really helped me understand myself more and forgive myself more and get rid of the blame and the guilt and just learning to like and love yourself. And I think being able to move and being able to look in the mirror and just go, yes, today I'm not going to be down on myself. Just for today, I'm going to be loving to myself and happy, and I'm going to play my music or my favorite song, and I'm going to get some of my friends to come along with me like I did on my hen do. For some reason, I had 33 women on my hen do. I didn't even know I liked 33 women, but I did. I do. And we all did this dance together. And it was just so much fun. Not only did I realize out of the 33 women, I had everything covered. I had a lawyer, I had a journalist, I had a Zumba dance teacher, somebody who did sound balls, a yoga teacher, a therapist, a I mean, all these women were just amazing. They're still in my life, really dear friends of mine. And we all just had a blast together. I mean, we did yoga and we did a lot of like intense stuff. Some people were crying. Some people were really, really tipsy, but we all had a lot of fun. And all that was moving.
Yeah. And I have to say, Melanie made everybody learn all these really complicated dance steps, and she judged it Obviously, she's a judge on America's Got
But
Talent.
in a nice way.
I was at the back. I think Yasmina there was at the back
But you
as well.
women took it right quite serious. They're all competing against each other. I'm like, this is meant to be a nice thing.
So, you know, you do have a lot of things in your home. You live in a farm and you have an ice bath, you have an infrared shower,
Shower.
you have a Himalayan salt sauna, and those things most people can't have. But you also, you know, I've been with you when you're out and you're hugging trees, and we can all hug a tree. And you know, you've spent time with the ducks and the goats and the chickens.
I swear, I can speak chicken now.
But
They
that's,
understand me.
that's about, and the exercise
Yeah.
of walking around your farm, that's accessible. Ice
But
baths aren't
everybody,
accessible.
no, an
But-
ice bath is accessible. You just turn your shower on cold.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or you fill up your bin.
Lovely.
Fill up your bin with a bit of ice. It's easy to do. I mean, I don't think I could do a cold shower because I'd probably cheat and turn it to hot. Whereas my ice bath, once you get in it, you're in it. And I think the worst part is getting out. Once you're in, you're in. You know, and you find out all these things, especially because I think for a woman, when you get into your 30s and mid-30s, I don't think GPs inform us enough of what we're meant to do. You're meant to be able to kind of treat your body along with your aging to prevent certain things happening, like you're meant to do more weightlifting. Now, that to me, to go into a gym and weightlift is daunting. But I can lift one of my Rottweilers up, I can do a bit of painting, I can find ways that are doable, that is not going to cost me that much, like going to a park, going for a run, meeting your mate for coffee, but instead of like taking the car, you take your bike, or you do your speed walking there, which I love speed walking. It looks hilarious and I love it.
And Carolina, this is one of the points of Zumba, isn't it? You don't need weights. You don't need to go to a gym. You can be any shape, size. This is
Yeah, I think it was
how
part-
accessible is Zumba?
It was part of the philosophy of the program from the beginning. One of the things that has allowed Zumba to translate so well into so many cultures in so many countries is one, music and dance are universal. It's something, it's the one language we all understand and share. So it unites us in a way that's very, very powerful. And the second thing is extremely accessible. I mean, you will find Zumba classes in high-end gyms for sure, but you will find Zumba classes in churches, community hall, after-school activities. It's really everywhere at every different price point. But I agree with you that, you know, fitness, exercise does not have to be complicated, does not have to be expensive. It's
Or
a
a punishment
mindset.
either.
Or a punishment, exactly. And you'll say the best workout for you is the exercise that you enjoy, that you stick
Exactly.
to. So you really need to, and I love what you mentioned about how at your wedding, you had all these different women coming together, because that's exactly what we witnessed in a Zumba class. I went to a training, one of those, you know, typical marketing, consumer research a few months ago, and I'm watching these lawyers, these hairdressers, dancers, teachers, and nurses. We have an incredible amount of teachers and nurses that are actually Zumba instructors, believe it or not, and all different walks of life coming together to dance. And one of them comes up to me at the end of the training, and I see her so confident and so fulfilled, and I'm like, so what made you become one? You know, how are you feeling right now? What made you become a Zumba instructor? She's like, well, I started in the back of the class. I made my way forward. One day, my instructor couldn't teach the class, so I subbed for her. So she got on stage. And she says, and for the first time of my life, I realized that I had the confidence to lead a room. And I think women, we find ourselves very often in situations where we have it in us and we don't take that step to lead the room. So she said, I was proud that I never thought people would want to take a class with someone who looked like me, because she also wasn't the typical fitness instructor that has a certain stereotype. And to me, you know, being in industry, it was a very powerful moment where I thought, I hope this energy translates into the boardroom, into the relationship that you're not necessarily happy with and you want to leave, into the mom that you want to become, into all these different, you know, walks of life that we walk every day. And I do think exercise plays a big role, and dance can play a big role in helping you find your confidence, your inner confidence.
Yeah.
And can I just interrupt? I think what has helped is that the fitness wear now, people are wearing every single day. So it's not like you have to get out of your usual clothes and put on your workout clothes. You know, you've got Zumba clothes, you've got fitness clothes that you just wear every day anyway.
Well, you would wear that every day.
Well, it's leopard print. Of course I'm going to wear it.
And Carolina, you talked about physical confidence there. And Melanie, you're a real one for sort of, and this is any size, any age, any shape. You're very good at sort of seeing that somebody has physical confidence. And in terms of, you always say that if somebody's a good dancer, that they're better in bed than most of us. And that you can see that they're better in bed, and you can see they're more sexy because they've got that confidence in their body, and you're very good at spotting it.
I think it's about feeling good in your skin, and once you've got that thing going on to your song that you just love to listen to, and you've got you know, everybody has their own move, their own go-to move, whether it be at the club, whether it be in your kitchen, whether it be hanging out with your girlfriends. You know, I think if you build on that, then it's just another form of stuff.
But it's about...
Okay, well, we laughed then, didn't we? And is it true, because you're the science
I think it is
person,
true.
But also, what does laughter do to us? What does laughter do to our bodies?
Oh, not sex, laughter. Sorry, I thought you were going to say sex.
Well, I think
Carolina, one or you can do both.
100%. I think what Alberto described in the beginning, right? Our brain is like this little lab, and all these chemicals being released while you're doing the exercise, for sure, have a huge impact on how not only how you're going to live or continue or go about your day, but how you're going to live your life. Which
Well,
is
you
why
can get a high in dancing,
100%.
just like you can with your partner.
And what you get in
That
dance,
endorphins.
and what you get in dance that's very interesting is that you're really working both sides of your brain, right? You have to pay attention. You have to be, just getting yourself lost and creative with the music, but you're also counting steps. You're also memorizing choreography. You're also thinking ahead. So dance also has the benefits of, preventing and helping slow down dementia. There's many, many articles that have been published in the last 2 years about how it can help patients with Alzheimer's in slowing down the progression of the disease. So it's no longer just a fun thing to do. It really can be beneficial in so many ways. But going back to what you said about, owning your movements in your body and being one with your body. And I think this is especially true for young girls, right, who are today exposed to so much through social media, who tends to isolate them, who learn how to feel comfortable in your own skin and not necessarily to live up to an image of something that you're not. And I think this is one of the things we're most proud about Zumba is, yes, you're going to get an exercise, yes, you're going to lose the weight and you're going to get fit, but more importantly, you're going to embrace and love the body that makes you move every day, that allows you to do the things that you take for granted, but when they're gone, are really, really painful. So embrace who you are, and I think dance and movement, it's an amazing way to do that.
And, we passed on joy there. You're in a place, Melanie, and you've said it many times now, you built a career on being loud and proud and who you were, but then you went into a very bad stage of your life when you were in an abusive marriage. You've recently remarried, and you're living in Leeds on your farm, and there is so much more joy in your life. How precious is that to you?
Oh my God, it's everything. I think, the state of mind that you can find yourself in when you've had a life that goes through ups and downs, which I'm sure many of us have had. You kind of have to have the thankfulness and gratefulness that you've come out of it the other side. And it's not so much of being in a dark place and going, oh my God, I can't wait to get out of it. Of course we can't wait to get out of it, but also acknowledging the fight and how you picked yourself up and how you're living your life out of it now, and actually being not thankful for the bad stuff, but understanding it enough and being appreciative of yourself that you actually could manage to get yourself out in kind of one piece. And I think your peace of mind is everything. And I don't think I stress that enough on people. Like I love just doing nothing. And apparently that's one of the hardest things to do. I love sitting by myself. I love being in my own company. And I've been like that from a really, really young age. And I don't know if that's partly because of my ADHD or whatever, but as time's gone on, I've really cherished that time. I call them my brain breaks. If I don't get a few of those every single day, I just feel like I'm not like being me, because I think we need that quiet time just to even just breathe, or just to reflect on what happened this morning, or to just sit there and just daydream. You know, kids get told off all the time for daydreaming in school. I think it's brilliant. They should have a daydreaming class where they all just sit there and just stare into space, because it gives your brain a chance to catch up. You know, that's why when we sleep and our circadian rhythm's meant to be on point, you need to flush out the brain to be able to get proper REM and deep sleep and light sleep. You know, our brain needs time to just be still.
Yes.
But I do still think that dance plays a huge part in your life. I know you and Rory dance around the sitting rooms at times, don't you? And that, you know...
Our dogs look at us like, what's going on there?
And as you said, on your hen weekend, you had, I mean, we all did the conga as well, around a sort of seaside area. And on your wedding day in Morocco, that was your and Rory's dance is the thing that people still talk about today. So dance is still that constant in your life,
Always, always. And I think because I've been a trained dancer in so many different aspects, you know, that doesn't matter. When that music comes on and you can feel it, you just end up doing your own thing anyway. And the more you can do that, you know, what is that saying that they say, dance like nobody's watching? Mm-hmm. Just take that mentality no matter where you go. It's brilliant.
Now, we've got a few questions from the audience. One is, what is your favourite song to jam to when working out?
It depends what mood I'm in. Because sometimes it can be quite, you know, Skunk and Nancy, quite screechy. Then it can be old school R&B-ish. I mean, I am stuck in the 90s. I still am. I always will be. So I love a good 90s pop, a good 90s R&B vibe, SWV, that kind of stuff. And, oh my God, Mystique's out. I've got to go and see that. I love her.
And this is one which will really resonate for you, Melanie, and also, Carolina, you might have something to say. Hi, Mel. What's a bit of advice for trying to push through when you feel your resources are really low and you just can't...
And you feel like what?
Your resources are really low and you just can't push yourself to do any form of exercise.
Well, I think some of those days are healthy to have when you do nothing. Like I said, it's one of my favourite pastimes, is to just do nothing. Rory comes home from work and he goes, what have you done today? And I go, nothing. And he goes, oh, okay. I think it's really healthy. I think sometimes you have to have a fine balance.
Yes.
Because it is healthy to do nothing, but not every single day. But then it is nice to also go, you know what? I'm just going to make myself go outside. I'm just going to make myself walk to the shop. I'm just going to make myself go to the end of this street and back. Just make yourself.
I think it's about starting, too. I think a lot of people, it's just about that first. One of the things about fitness that we hear over and over again is intimidation. People are intimidating about walking into the gym or starting any sort of activity. Push yourself out there, you know, and after step 1, step 2, step 3 will follow a lot easier.
And I would like both of you to think of someone who's struggling and think that wellness and joy isn't for them. They can't afford it, can't access a group. What would you advise them to do?
I think it's...
Go on. No, go on.
No, I think it's what we just said. I think it's just start. Take that small step. Don't think you have to go overboard or try to follow what everybody else is doing, what are the trends, what you always see is these impossible fitness goals and benchmarks and trends that are out there today. Don't live up to that. Go at your own pace, set your own goals, one step at a time, and dance not only in class, but through life. Keep with you that positive outcome and that positive energy that comes after a dance class, you know?
Yeah.
And I also think it's really good to write things down, because you'd be surprised how much your brain actually forgets what you did a few weeks ago or even last year. Even if it's just, right, today I'm going to do da-da-da-da, and just set yourself like mini goals that are realistic. I mean, I used to be like an all or nothing person, and I'm finally finding like a happy medium balance where it is realistic and doable what I do, rather than going balls to the walls and doing 6 spin classes a week and then doing hot yoga, Bikram yoga twice a week. You know, that isn't sustainable. You know, you have to be able to treat your body kind, but also be realistic with yourself. Set yourself realistic goals, but then, you know, like bump it up a bit. Like if, like my friend went into the ice bath yesterday, and he did like 28 seconds.
Yeah, and
I said to him, so next time you come into the ice bath next week, try and do 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And you'll be surprised at how much your brain will go, actually, I'm going to do 34 seconds. And it gives you such, like, that inner little joy, like, oh, I've done that.
But you've also said that you were there supporting him, and this seems to be the thing with Zumba. It's a whole community. Like, we watched the video.
Well, I was videoing him and laughing
Yeah.
as well.
But the other thing, too, you're talking about goals, and especially women, when you look at the research, when we set our goals are always about how we look, right? We have an expectations of looking a certain way. Start measuring how you feel.
Yeah.
That will
That's a
come
really
a
good
lot faster. You will see the results a lot quicker, and that would motivate you to push yourself harder to eventually get to the goal of how you want to look. But I think this benchmark of I want to look a certain way, and that is where I'm going to achieve, can discourage you very early in your journey versus, hey, I'm feeling so much better 3 days in this new routine that I've just set. That is a real lifestyle change, and that's ultimately what's going to make you stick to it long term.
And in classic style, we've overrun by 2 minutes and 20 seconds. So I'd like to thank everybody. Thank you, Melanie.
Thank you, Louise.
Carolina.
Thank you. Thank you for having
I
us.
hope everybody enjoyed the smell as well as the sound.
You guys.
We've left them with the feeling of the smell.
Thank you.